Recording in progress.
Now,
That's the Zoom.
good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for the Selectmen's meeting. Today is, once I find my paperwork, December 17th, 2024. The time is 6:02, and would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Citizens input, do I have anybody? Anybody on Zoom? See it?
Mike, Bob, you want to click the button? I got it. 1 second. There we go.
All right. Not seeing anybody on Zoom. As you may have noticed or heard, we're without our town administrator, and Bob Marchand has something he wants to read.
1 second.
Sure thing, Bob.
So it is with a heavy heart that we received a letter from Mr. O'Mara, and in his letter, he stated, "It is with mixed emotions that I advise you of my intention to retire from the position of town administrator. After 40 years of public service, it is time for me to move on to the next chapter of my life. The effective date of my retirement will be December 31st, 2024. Between now and then, I will be taking time to prepare for this transition. Therefore, I will not be returning to Newton. For any necessary communications, please feel free to call my cell phone or use this email, and I will make myself available. It has been a pleasure to work with you on behalf of the town of Newton. As I said to you individually and collectively, you are truly a board that works vigilantly on behalf of the taxpayers of Newton, and I wish you all the best in your services to the community, and of course, for a safe and happy holiday. Respectfully, Jim O'Mara." And we would like to thank him for everything that he has helped us to accomplish, because he was part of this team, an instrumental part of the team. And our prayers and hopes go with him and his family, and hope his retirement serves him well.
Thank you. Moving on, we have a food pantry donation. I'd like to acknowledge and thank Estabrooks Garage for the generous donation of the Newton Food Pantry in the amount of $500.
So with that said, I move to accept and spend $500 generous donation to the Newton Food Pantry by Estabrooks Garage.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous, and thank you again for that donation. Next up, we have supervisors of the checklist.
Microphone,
Right
please.
over there.
Don't be bashful, ladies.
I rarely am.
I was being nice.
Give me the benefit. Okay, so we're here, I think you've got my memo, or I sent the memo regarding working conditions for supervisors of the checklist. We have one computer that we can use here in the building. I bring my laptop. It's chilly in there, so I brought my space heater. We have no table to work on, other than the one to stand up for two computers. So Colette brought her table and another chair, which we've had to keep rescuing from different places because it gets used. It's just, the working conditions are poor in that hall because it's also not very private, and sometimes people have come over to talk to one or the other of us, and there are papers for people's registration sitting right there, and that's all personal information. So it's just not ideal. So we need a space to work in that's a little more private and and warm. And we also need to have at least one more computer, one more laptop, so that if we need to, we can work at my house, or Colette can, Colette works on hers at home, but she has a computer there, but we can't do that together, so.
Right.
So anyway, so that's what we're asking for, is at least one computer, if not, ultimately that you'll need 3, because I won't be there forever. But,
We have 3 people,
and we have 3 people,
Yep.
so.
we need access to a printer. We
Susan,
also need access to a printer, because we do need to print documents, copy things.
Yeah, so working up here is not really ideal, because we have to refer to things down there. We also have to run down there and get things off the printer or whatever, so. It's poor working conditions, really,
I have a question for you guys. Colette, you've been doing this for 10 years?
More.
More. This hasn't been an issue in the last 10 years?
Oh, yes, it has, but we've just been dealing with it,
Okay.
We can't work together. We always have to do it alone at home, on our own.
Okay.
But a lot of times, especially where, I've needed to train her because she hasn't gone into any training yet. I need to have her near me. My house is not set up. I can't have somebody sitting next to me. There's no place to sit.
No,
So
and
that's why
I
we
get
come
it.
here.
So the computer, I donated my town laptop. I gave it to Robin to have Armand take care of it. You guys can have it. So you have a laptop. I use my own personal.
Okay.
well, then what's she gonna do? What's Robin gonna do then?
Robin has to give it to our IT people to wipe it and then.
Right.
make
It's a
sure
selectman
set.
computer. She's gonna have our IT people deal with it and give it to you guys.
Okay.
So there's that, but as far as downstairs, there's not much we can change. I mean, that's where it's always been done. Public has, unless meeting up here, the public has to come to some spot to meet.
Oh, yeah, for the meetings, yes.
Yeah.
But we have,
yeah.
but we have other work that we have to do, like we had to input in over 300 new voters in from the election, and we had to put in 3,500, votes into the system. It just takes time. And,
Sure.
You
You
could
know.
use up, you could spread out up here. This is enough work surface.
Well,
and-
yeah, but then we have to run downstairs to use the printer, so.
So we do, yeah.
So again, we could work at my house, because I do have a space where we could all work, and we have a printer. But the thing is, I think that it's a job that needs to be done, and I think that the job itself should be respected in the sense of what the needs are of the people who do it. So if we all want to take it home and do it, we can't. We can't.
Right.
So we can't have access to all the files that we have in the
Yeah.
cabinet at home. If we're up here, we do one letter at a time when we do the election. So then we have to print it, then we have to go over it and verify that we entered it in correctly. So now we're running up and down the stairs to the printer. I'm not even sure if we can print anything from the printer up here either, so.
My computer will be able to print it. So.
Okay.
Do you have a suggestion?
Her laptop doesn't have access to the printer, so she
So it can,
generates the
some
report
of the
and I have
IT
to print
person
it.
can do that for
Yeah.
me, but
Right.
still.
So,
And with the space provided downstairs, do you have an alternative suggestion for us to think
Well,
about?
Jim Doggett suggested that we could use an office up here. Now, it doesn't have, again, it's the problem of the printer, but,
Well, you still have to go down and get the binders.
well, and the binders are the least of it, because that's just filing, and when we do the filing, what's
We can
available
move
to
down
us
there.
down, we can be down there. That's quick and easy.
Is this door not open?
No, they can get in there if they want to access the,
Because there's a copier and a printer right here.
okay.
There is, okay.
Right
So
at
we
the
could-
top of these
If we
stairs.
could work in that
Okay.
off, he told me that that's a warmer place because the heat rises. And Joe will tell you, I'm always cold, so.
Well, do we want them working in the planning board office where there could be documents that they couldn't be, and they could work here and then use that printer?
Well, the desk in that room, conservation needs in there, so that's not a
Yeah.
problem.
It's not a problem.
See, and that's the
Oh,
other
you're
thing.
talking back, not Jim's office, you're
Worst
talking the
case
other room.
scenario-
Well, he said there's some sort of a conference.
Worst case scenario
haven't
is we
seen
could
it.
set up a printer in there if we need.
Yeah.
But really, ultimately, there should be 3 computers. I
And
mean,
that wouldn't be
no
a
one
bad-
should have to use their
Yeah,
computer for
setting up a
home.
printer in there wouldn't be a bad idea, because there are times that conservation needs to print stuff, and
Yeah.
they can't.
So you don't have any town computers or laptops?
Only,
No?
we don't have any laptops, so that we have, we're anchored to that little
So
table right there.
the thing, Bob, is that, and I've done the job, I was,
Yeah,
so,
Sure, yeah, I
the
know
thing
that.
is for, like, last year was a busy year, it's 4 elections, so there's 4 elections that have to be batched. That's on the computer, and those have a deadline, so when the election's done, that has to be into the state system within so many days. And then you guys are required to meet, what, 4 times a year? So those other 4 times, so last year would have been a minimum of 8 times using a computer. But this year, we only have 1 election, so it's only gonna be a minimum of 5 times. It changes every year, so the need is, I think on a busier year, you're right, you probably need more computers, but on a year, the next couple of years are gonna be easy years, we don't do a big one for another 4 years. But the computer downstairs and then the laptop should be able to get you by for a little bit, for a few years.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, as I say, I think the job, I think when you give someone a job, or they're elected to a job, then they need the tools and the respect of having adequate facilities. So that's what, you know,
So the issue still
need
remains
to
of a
think about
printer,
it.
correct?
Yeah, pardon?
No,
The
there's
issue
a
still
printer there.
remains of a printer?
Trish,
If we can use that one, that's fine.
is there a printer in the country?
Okay,
So
then
they're all-
then that probably answers
so-
that question.
Robin, when we
Yes.
set with Armand, make sure it works that printer,
Okay.
and the big one downstairs.
When are you guys meeting again?
When are we meeting again?
We gotta set up a time where we still have to finish doing paperwork for the election.
Yeah.
We haven't finished it completely.
Okay. Just give me a date, not
So
all of
early in
it.
January, I would say, probably, wouldn't you? Or do we have that long? I don't know.
We gotta finish batching, we gotta finish the election up. The paperwork can be done later, after that, but we have to finalize everything with the state.
So we want to get a rush on that computer through Armand.
Yep. We will.
So with
And then-
respect to saying it's a lack of respect, none of us have any idea what you're talking about until you
No,
sent that
I don't mean
email.
it, and not disrespecting the person, but it's respecting the office of the job itself.
But we had no idea.
Right,
Oh,
and
no,
unfortunately,
and I
Get
don't, no,
it.
I didn't mean to that as an accusation. I just meant that the tradition has been that this is, you know, and it's evolved, what the job has been.
Sure.
and for
So-
years and
No,
years,
I
it was
wasn't,
never an issue.
I wasn't denigrating any of you
Okay.
with that, or accusing any of you of that.
All right, so we'll get all, go ahead, Trish, you got something.
Well, I just want to say that
Hold on, get up to the mic, please.
Otherwise, no one will hear it.
Hi, everyone, it's Tricia McCarthy. So I'm just going to suggest that you talked about there's no privacy downstairs. The conference room here, there's no privacy there. So I'm suggesting you have your meetings here and then link to the printer in the back. So if you have to print, you can print.
Sure.
The big giant printer that Conservation and Planning Board and Zoning Board have access to would be very hard. We'd have to teach you, we'd have to have the company come in and teach you. It's a big giant machine. But we could link you to the planning board printer. So I think meetings maybe here, print there, might make it a little easier for you.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah?
So then we just have to work around whatever meeting schedule there is for out here.
Yeah, because it's gonna be the same there, they do their non-public meetings back there, and then Jim Dog gets in and out of there all the time for zoning and planning, so you may not have privacy back there either. This would be better.
And so maybe we will end up working at one of our homes, but at least we can all three be together and working on it.
That's
Right.
fine.
If we,
Yeah, of course, and if you need a ream of paper, just ask. You know, if you need a ream of paper, just ask.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I mean, like it's not.
Yeah.
No, and they can, there's money in the budget from MJ, so if you need toner and ink and stuff, you can put a rec in with
All right,
Mary
well,
Jo.
Mary Jo said that there was a room in the election budget to buy a computer, to buy office supplies, all of the things.
Yeah,
that we
well,
would need.
she wanted to buy a computer without having it through Armon, and I'm thinking, we have town computers for a reason that are all through Armon, it should go through
There
Armon.
are IT people. yeah.
Right, and that's why that computer's all set up on Armon, we already pay for it, so you can have that one.
Okay,
Okay.
and I'll just ask the IT guy to hook me to my computers.
They'll make it all,
The
yeah,
printer,
they'll
yeah.
set it.
Okay, good, thank
All
you.
right.
So we'll roll with that and let us know how it works out for you. All right? Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Next up, we have the fire chief.
Good evening, Board.
Evening.
I believe the first thing was the monthly report from the fire department. I'll just touch the highlights. There was 50 calls for November. The majority, quite a bit, was mutual aid. I just want to touch base on two quick things. One, the department would like to thank Planet Fitness for the donation of the fitness equipment. And moving on, as the board knows, November 1st, the department hosted the first public safety breakfast for police and fire, which was a big hit between both departments. November 2nd, the tanker was requested to Plastow Fire. On November 6th, Engine 2 was requested by Southampton Fire. On the 10th, Engine 2 was requested by Plastow Fire. Also on the 10th, Tank 4 was requested to go to Boxford, Mass. for their fire. On the 11th, Tank 5 was requested to go back to Boxford for their large forest fire they had. On November 14th, the forestry, Tank 5 and Car 1 was requested by Southampton Fire for their brush fire. On the 15th, Engine 2 was requested again to Plastow. On November 17th, Tank 5 was requested to Kingston Fire. On the 18th, Tank 4 and Car 1 was requested by Merrimack Fire. On November 19th, 20th, and 21st, the forestry, Tank 4, Car 1 was requested to Brentwood. And again, the departments are working jointly together for training. There's actually one going on right now as I speak between, I believe it's East Kingston, Kingston and Newton for large search in the woods. That was that half. If I may, I was asked to touch base on the cisterns.
If you would, please.
Absolutely. I spoke to the contractor. The contractor is working on getting supplies for it, from what he explained to me. And he said, if the board has any questions, just reach out to him. That he will, that the weather's changing right now, so he might not be able to get at the tank that has the possible leak. But he is working on the project.
Okay, good.
Okay? If I may just touch on a couple of things, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I sent an email that the two sleeping quarters have had its blessing by the engineer, looking for permission to put the beds into those two sleeping quarters by the board. The second thing, I'm not sure if the board ever voted on what day the board wanted to start the 24s. I know there was talk about January 2nd. I just want to confirm that because that was our agreement earlier. And just to touch base with the board, that a year ago, 6 months ago, and 4 months ago, we were solid for medics. We lost 1, 2, 3, 4 in the past couple of months. So if we do start January 2nd, we do not have enough medics to run 2 at a time. We might have to split them up at least one, because we're not going to have the day person anymore once we start the 24s. So we'll put, again, with the board's permission, 1 paramedic, firefighter paramedic 24/7. And if we have a basic or an advanced that wants to do a 24, we'll add that. We'll have to go into non-public and discuss a pay cycle that I submitted to the town administrator for him to review to try to be competitive. Just the touch, I think, I know Bob has met a couple of these chiefs. When the 6 towns talked, I'm from the old school. there was a chief agreement that the towns would not pay more than $30 an hour for paramedics, so we wouldn't poach from other towns. 4 of us are abiding by that. 2 of them are not. One of our new hires that was just hired probably a month ago, I just found out he was hired in Hampstead Fire, I'll say the name, I really don't care. Hampstead Fire for $40 an hour. We have one of the other towns, that fire chief is calling paramedics from Newton, East Kingston, Plastow, Brentwood, Epping, et cetera, offering them $40 an hour also.
Is this the same town that is gonna be sued? That's what I thought.
You got it. So we're in a pickle. I will resubmit to the Board of Selectmen, the fire department's proposed pay scale, which will put us not at $40 an hour. We're still gonna stay within the gentleman agreement, the chief's agreement, because I do believe in that. But try to stop some of the hemorrhaging from people leaving. I actually re-advertised on the New Hampshire State Fire Academy website for straight EMS personnel. We received 1, and that, hopefully the board approves that individual this evening. And the last thing, well, there's a couple of others if I can. I'm not sure if the board is aware. Well, I know the board knows that Exeter Hospital is stopping their ALS service. Just so the board's aware, Plastow, the Seacoast Chiefs EMS Committee, met with 3 candidates, you can say, and they chose Plastow Fire to be the ALS service. Once that starts, I'm gonna guess, they're probably gonna have to hire 14 to 21 paramedics to run 2 trucks. So paramedics are gonna be scarce. Just putting it out there. Again, nobody had crystal balls going back when. And the Plastow chief and I, we do have a good agreement on what the pays, so we don't start poaching from each other. Okay?
Well, hopefully there'll be a mix, because like you said, if they're working a 24-hour shifts.
Yep.
If they work a couple shifts there and then they don't want to pay the overtime at that rate,
Correct.
and these gentlemen want to work one more
Correct.
24-hour shift, we could be able to fit them in some type of rotation in our town.
That is the game plan. That is the game plan. What we have to do, though, is we have to, right now, we're about $15 less an hour than the
So
highest person. So we
the-
just,
The rate that we were talking about was it a straight 30 an hour, right?
actually, we came in less than that. Not much, but we came in less than that, yes, sir. Because it would be, for some members, it's going to be a big jump. You know what I mean? We just
Yeah.
didn't want to do that big jump. It's going to be close. But not knowing budgets, I couldn't hit that number, but it's going to be close to that number.
All right, well, let's get that to us so we can
Okay.
work on that immediately, please.
Didn't
I
we
will-
figure the 30 in the budget?
It was,
Your budget number.
yes. That number has been thrown out for the past 2 years. The thing with it is, Jim had me go back to last fall, and see every single Board of Selectmen meeting to see if the board ever voted on it. And they never did. That was the number that was always used. There was not the number, the board never voted on it, so I can't say we're gonna do it. The Board of Selectmen
Right.
have to make that decision. But I'll forward that definitely tomorrow to the Board of Selectmen. Okay? Another quick thing, if it is possible, I know the board knows there's some residential projects going into town. I've asked this for so many years, and it's never happened. I don't know if it's the Board of Selectmen or if it's the Planning Board. Since we talk about cisterns, I asked if there could be a warrant article. Well, I didn't ask. I recommended that a warrant article be placed onto the warrant that would require the contractor installing the cistern be required to provide a bond for 30 years to maintain that cistern. I've said this since day one, it should not be up to the taxpayers. I understand we have a warrant article now, but that's in the past. We have 3 projects, and possibly 4, that are going on right now in town, that if we don't do a warrant article that would be effective immediately in March, we're gonna adopt 3 or 4 more cisterns to take care of.
So even if there was a warrant article that passed, they're already grandfathered in?
They are?
Doesn't matter, yeah, if they have planning board approval, that's it, it's done.
Okay.
Going forward, I would recommend that Mr. Marchand talk to Jen and see if it's a planning board thing or a selectman thing to bond out cisterns for,
For how long did you say?
do you know?
I'm-
I believe that
I'm
would be a
used to 30 years.
requirement from the planning board to
Right,
put on it.
exactly, so I just want you to check with Jen. And if,
Yep.
I mean, if it's the case, then the planning board should totally put that warrant article,
Yep.
so we don't, same situation next year.
Yeah,
But yeah,
'cause-
chief, anything that's already been approved and they have approval, it's too late for that, unfortunately.
Okay.
You can't give them and then take it back.
Okay,
So, but we'll get on it and fix it, so hopefully going forward, the voters
Okay.
agree and make that change and, you know.
I tried.
Bob will get back to us on what Jen says, but I'm pretty sure it's a planning board thing.
Yeah.
I do believe it is, because I have talked to the planning board for years
Sure.
in regards to it, but for years, a cistern hasn't been put in, and for 2025,
We decided to put 4 in, sure,
we're gonna get hit.
yeah. I agree, but hopefully we can solve it moving forward after this ballot cycle.
Okay.
So, I agree, I don't wanna inherit all these things, you know?
Correct.
And I understand where you're going with it.
The other quick thing, is it possible for the board to approve putting the beds in?
Yep.
If that's okay?
Yep, we can, I'm good with it, if the engineer signed off on it, you guys
Yep,
will.
everything's been approved, so he's good to go.
So I'll entertain a motion for that.
With that said, I'd like to make a motion to allow the fire chief to place the beds into the living quarters at the fire station.
Second.
Effective immediately.
Motion by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous, you can put your beds in.
Thank you. Is it possible, does the board have a date you want to start the 24s?
January 2nd.
Good luck, I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean,
Well,
you don't have the manpower.
the board has to, the thing with it is, the agreement we had, I believe it was last year, or, no, it was in March, after, the board has to approve the
We
date.
do,
Yeah, I think we said we wanted to start it in January so we could shake out any issues that might.
Yep.
you're gonna
Might come
start it
before
in
us.
January,
Yep.
but you're not gonna do any transports, or I should say, you're not gonna poach any transports.
We're going to maintain the way transports as we've been doing for 15 years,
Right.
Until the end of March
end of February.
or February, I mean. However, as like we stated, if Trinity doesn't show up within a respected time and it's an emergency, then we transport.
Correct. Correct.
We do not wait for Trinity.
All right, let's do a motion for that start date, gentlemen.
I'd like to make a motion pursuant to the discussion with the fire chief that we begin the rotations for the 24/7s beginning January 2nd.
Motion made by
2025.
Joe,
Second.
seconded by Joe Aiello.
They're just a little louder, Joe. Very, yeah, I can't hear anything.
I'll try my best.
Okay. Can you do it one more time, Joe? I
I'd
couldn't
like
hear it.
to, pursuant to the discussion we've had with the police, with the fire chief, relative to the starting the 24/7 service, I move that we initiate that beginning January 2nd of 2025.
Motion by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
And what I'll do for the board, just so we have coverage, since we're not gonna have the day crew like we have now, we'll try to get, instead of doubling up paramedics, we'll do one paramedic a day, so there'll at least be somebody in the fire station 24/7.
Right.
And what I forgot to mention, is part of that pay change, we were eliminating per diems, part-timers. If you're a firefighter, as was discussed the last time, you're being compensated per your training. A firefighter,
Exactly.
EMT, it don't make a difference, everybody's gonna get paid the same, because this craziness of different pays.
Depending on what your
Qualifications are.
qualifications.
Exactly.
Yep, I will get that to the board.
Okay.
Okay. I can sit back unless you
Nope,
wanna do
nope.
incumbent funds and PTO.
Let's do incumbent funds, but let me stop you before you even start.
Okay,
You don't have any money.
okay, that's easy.
Yep. So we can skip all those.
Thank
You
you.
want to find a different place to get it from, that's fine, but I'll let you do that. I was just talking to Paula tonight, and yeah, you don't have any money, so
How's the town coffer? The town budget?
it's funny. It's getting there, but we'll see. Well,
Okay.
I'll do a little bit more research
Nope.
on it, but your budget specifically,
Okay,
you don't
that's
have.
fine. There is one in there that if, which is the EMS one, that if it wasn't in, if we do not have incumbent funds, if the board can approve it through the ambulance revolving account.
Which one is that?
That the pump one?
Boundary?
Boundary one.
Boundary, yeah. $2,254.99.
Okay. What was that for?
It's for that
Oh, that's good.
Sapphire
That's good.
multi-therapy infusion pump kit.
Yeah,
What is that?
yes, sir.
Give me a help, what is that?
I'll even bring a paramedic up.
Yes,
Your
please.
infusion pump.
Let us know what the Sapphire multi-therapy
Sounds really
infusion pump
sexy.
kit is.
It helps pump IV and
So
medication.
the
State your
pump,
name, please.
Devin Wilds, paramedic for Newton Fire.
Thank you.
The infusion pump kit it's a small pump. We would hook IV lines to it and a medication at one end, and then each patient, based on what they need, epinephrine, norepi, doesn't matter what it is.
Sure.
It's given to the patient at a dose rate that we set.
That you set.
Based on weight of the patient, milliliters per hour, so that the patient gets the best possible care that we can provide.
Is this going in the ambulance?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so it'll be in, it'll stay in that, is what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
saying, okay.
And you can be on.
Do we have one of these in the old ambulance?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually a state requirement.
Okay.
All right, well, then that's easy. Yeah, we'll take it out of that fund. Do you guys know what the number is? I can,
You got it,
So,
Joe?
yeah, so then I move to authorize the allowance of incumbent funds for fire department
No, no,
budget in the
not
amount of $2,254.99 payable to Boundtree for a pump kit, providing funds are available at the end of the year.
no,
No, it's
No.
gonna come out
it's
of,
gonna come out
Okay.
of, hold
Ambulance
on.
revolving account.
I'm gonna tell, nope, don't call it that, chief.
No.
There's two.
Yeah, we're gonna do the fire and rescue ambulance program revolving fund.
So I'd
You
like
wanna
to
do the
amend
other one?
that
No, I was
to-
told the other one, but that's okay. Do that one.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Chief is right, and I can give you,
You're right, Dan, so it was-
yeah.
Because we're gonna come in front of the board probably the next meeting for the other one. Anyways,
Ambulance fund. Yep, it's just called the ambulance fund. The last four digits of the account is 5060. And you have enough in there to pull it out of that, so you're good.
excellent.
Okay.
So with that said, I'd like to amend that motion to say that the funds will be withdrawn from the ambulance fund at number 5060.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
hold on one second.
Robin, you good
all
with that?
set with that?
Yeah, I got it, I think.
Okay.
If not, I can watch the tape.
Okay. I know I didn't give the whole account number, but
Yeah.
you can figure it out from
Yeah.
that. Okay.
You, by the way, Mr. Chair, you are correct. The next one, for the next meeting, is out of the new fund. You are 100% correct on that one.
All right.
And we're on the ambulance. Greenwood Fire's scheduled to come back either next week or the first week in the new year, the EMS coordinator is working with Exeter Hospital to get all the medications, narcotics, and an MOU
To get it stocked.
to get it stocked,
when will it be
licensed,
certified?
fingers crossed. We're hoping for first week in February.
State, that for state certification?
Correct. Once the EMS coordinator gets the meds and the narcotics, then on the truck, then we can call for the state to come down and inspect it. We can't inspect it until
After the fact.
he
It's
does
fully
that.
equipped, right?
Sorry?
Till it's fully equipped.
You got it.
So that new ambulance is not in service?
No.
Okay. And you're
No.
thinking the
The
first week of
process for
February?
this is ridiculous for you
Right.
to
Well,
get this thing approved.
At the beginning, we were going to strip the old one
Yeah.
and downgrade the old one to a BLS and take all the old stuff and put it onto the new one. Somewhere down the line, in changing the license, it was decided we're gonna have two ALS. So some of the stuff we could take,
Yeah.
some of the stuff we couldn't. Greenwood was supposed to mount a lot of the equipment when it was down
Yeah.
there. They came up 2 weeks ago, they didn't bring some of the equipment. It was just delivered to the fire station last Thursday. So that's why they gotta come back up.
Unbelievable. Okay.
Red tape?
On their dime, of course.
Oh, that I don't, they haven't sent us a bill.
Right, but because it was supposed to be done while it was at their place, I'm saying it should be on their dime
Correct,
because they messed up.
correct.
And if
Okay.
they got a problem with it, you come tell them to come see me.
Yep, no
Okay.
problem.
Are we doing this new hire too?
All right, go ahead and hit your PTO, chief.
Okay. In the past, probably 9 years, 8, 9 years, permanent part-timers per the town policy they only get 1 week of PTO time. I call it vacation. In lieu of going back every year to the board, I've been allowed to roll 1 year over to the following year, so technically I get 2 weeks vacation. Would it make a difference 1 year or 100 years? I was allowed to roll, so I'm respectfully asking if I can do that again, roll my hours that I have in the bank in '24, move it into '25. If that made any sense.
That the 58 hours?
Yes, sir.
I'm fine with it. Doesn't bother me any.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion that the fire chief can roll his 58 hours of PTO time into 2025.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A, seconded by Joe S. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, board.
You want to go right into your hiring thing?
Yes, sir.
Instead of making you get up and down, it's just,
No,
I know
I-
I'm skipping around, but I just figure it's easier.
Nope, I apologize. And that's fine with me. The board, forgive me. I'd like to hire Anthony, I can't say his last name, Polier, as a probationary firefighter paramedic. He would be hired, he'd have to do the background check per all town employees, and he would have 1 year to go to the fire academy to be a certified firefighter. He would not work by himself. He would always work with a certified firefighter.
So, he's a paramedic right now.
Yes, sir.
Does he want to be a firefighter, or are you making him do that?
He wants to be a firefighter. He's actually on Newburyport Fire, Massachusetts.
Okay.
They're either going to send him, we're hoping that they send him to the academy, then he'll come out firefighter 1 and 2. If he goes to the New Hampshire Academy, he'll spend 13, 14 weeks getting firefighter 1, then probably another 10 to 13 weeks to get firefighter 2, where he can go in Massachusetts in one shot, 13 weeks, I believe it is, and he comes out 1 and 2.
Sure.
He's not, we don't force nobody.
No, I had a good conversation with Chief Knutson. and
Yeah.
He is not in favor of it. That's why I was
Yeah.
asking.
No.
If,
Well,
I know the TA wanted you to hire dual guys, and after having the conversation with Chief Knutson, he's
Yeah.
like, you're either, it's rare when you get both.
It's in that, for us,
Good at both.
you're real lucky if you can get both. I agree. That's why 2 months ago, we advertised for straight EMS. You know, it was a bonus if you were a firefighter, but straight EMS. And we have other individuals that are EMS personnel that are in the fire service that want to go to the fire academy, you could say. They're new hires.
Yeah.
They want to go to the academy. For Newton, I hired our very first, about 5 years ago, young lady that was straight EMT, and we had a structure fire, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to do nothing, and that's when everything changed. You had to be dual cert. There's not enough dual certs.
I know, and that's why, you know, rethinking your model and having firefighters.
Already done it.
All right,
Did it two to 3 months ago.
okay.
Entertain a motion?
Yeah, I'll entertain
Okay,
a
I move
motion.
to hire Anthony Clorer at a probationary firefighter medic at the hourly rate of $22.50 an hour, pending he meets the requirements set forth by the chief.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that is unanimous.
Thank you, board.
All right,
Thank you
thanks,
for
Chief.
everything.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
If I don't see you,
Thank you,
have a,
gentlemen.
Yeah, have a good holiday.
Good holiday.
Merry Christmas, Chief.
Siggy, thank you for staying under control back there.
Ziggy was sleeping, who are you kidding?
He had a full stomach today.
I get it.
Trailer guy.
Okay, that's done, that's done. Trish, why don't you come on up?
Night, kids.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Thank you. See you later.
See you guys later.
Take care, David.
Hi, everybody. Tricia McCarthy, Emergency Management. So, to give you a little background, American Recovery Plan Act, the acronym is ARPA. We've had till December 31st of this year to target what we could use that money for. If we didn't use it, we're going to lose it, and we have to give it back to the state. And clearly, that's not what we want to do. After discussing with our moderator and our town clerk tax collector, we have enough money that we can buy 2 voting machines, and I'm going from memory, the requisitions are up front. They're, I want to say, $13,500 total, but we get $7,000 back as a credit for the 2 old voting machines that we turn in. The $750 that's maintenance, and I forget what else, software update maybe. We don't need to encumber that because Mary Jo has that in her budget. There's no way that we're going to be able to spend this by the end of the year, but as long as we have the invoice dated before the end of this year, that's what the U.S. Treasury says is fine. So there's no way we're going to get it. I'm sure we have to pay for it and then get the credit, so that's not going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So ultimately, the requisition in front of you is for 2 new voting machines and a printer. Ultimately, it's going to cost us $6,500. And if we encumber, I think we have to encumber the whole amount, because I bet we have to pay the whole amount.
Yeah.
But there's plenty, you know, I have the money in the ARPA funds. And then the second requisition is the folding and or insert machine. So when Mary Jo, the tax collector, is sending out your tax bills and we have to stuff the envelopes, this actually will fold everything and stuff the envelopes. It will save a huge amount of time. Many of you helped us fold and stuff envelopes, and it's a terrible, terrible time-consuming job. So those 2, we may be able to get that folding machine, I don't know. If I get this back signed tonight, well, I'll get it tomorrow and send it in. Maybe we'll get that by the end of the year, but they're having such a problem with shipping, I'm not sure. Okay. So if we could encumber that, and I included in the requisition, back, and again, I'm going from memory, like August of 2022, the board approved any ARPA expenses. We changed our purchase policy, so we didn't have to go out to bid unless it was over $20,000. So I did include that to be very transparent.
Okay.
So with that all said and done, I move to encumber the allowance, I move to authorize the allowance of encumbered funds from ARPA funds for a total of $5,131.50 for the purchase of a folding machine with a 2-year maintenance contract from Formax DeBrook Company.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
And moving along, I move to authorize the allowance of encumbered ARPA funds in the amount of $13,500 for the purchase of 2 new voting machines from Voting Works.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, our own Robin would like to carry over some hours into the next year.
Oh, okay.
And Robin, so my email has a different number than what's on the motion. I just want to be sure. The amount you wanted to bank.
All right, hold on. Does it say 18?
Well, there's bank and then
No,
carry
no, no.
over.
It says you'll bank 52 and carry over 19.
Oh,
On
yeah.
the email, but the
Motion says 58.
motion says 58.
Okay, so I have 58, but I'm gonna take the day after Christmas, it's gonna bring me down to 50.
All right, so we're gonna go 52, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so with that said, I move to authorize Robin Sparks to bank 58 hours of
No,
52.
52 hours of PTO and carry 19 hours into 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. And the reason why this is on the agenda, Robin would need to take time off before the end of the year or lose it. And I suggested that we put it on the agenda so we could roll it over, because normally we don't roll over PTO. Because I would much rather have Robin in the office for the remainder of the year than have her take time just to take time. I told her if she needed to do something, fine, but if otherwise, I would rather she was in the office, especially right now, because we need her. Just a little background on why that's on there. That being said, let's do manifests.
Okay. I move to approve payroll manifest in the amount of $83,722.13 for a pay period of December 1st through 14th, 2024, with a pay date of December 19th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That is unanimous.
I move to approve a withdrawal in the amount of $7,800 from the Recreation Revolving Account with a pay date of December 10th, 2024. Payment is to Oasis Property Maintenance for the repair of the fields at Greenie Park.
Second.
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
I move to approve the withdrawal of $12,430.60 from the Cable Revolving Account with a pay date of December 10th, 2024. Payment is to Armon Networks for monthly IT services and Hewlett Packard Financial for computer leases.
Second.
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I move to approve the withdrawal of $2,272.30 from the Ambulance Revolving Account with the pay date of December 10th, 2024. Payment is to Bound Tree Medical for the purchase of EMS equipment.
Second.
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Joe, 1 second. Robin, that is the same account we just drew from.
Okay.
So it should be the same.
Was that the same dollar amount?
I don't think so.
No, it's different.
It's different? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
2254. It is close, but I just want to, I know he had said that it should come from the other one, but I
2254
would
was,
rather it came from this account.
All right, so we're switching it to ambulance.
It's just the ambulance account.
Okay.
The same number that I gave you
I'm gonna
earlier.
have to sign that tonight.
That's
so
fine.
We don't get it straight.
It's fine. So they're both coming from that same ambulance account. It's the one that doesn't have 200,000 in it. It's
Alright.
the other one.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Joe, sorry.
I move to approve vendor manifest in the amount of $699,955.57 with a pay date of December 10th, 2024. Payment includes $572,411 to the Rockingham County Treasurer for town share of county tax, and $4,672.81 to Eastern Minerals for salt for the roads.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That is unanimous.
Move to approve and accept the public meeting minutes dated November 14th, 2024, as written.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor? Aye. That is unanimous.
I move to approve and accept the non-public meeting minutes dated December 3rd, 2024, as written.
Second?
Motion made by Joe A., seconded by Joe S. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Okay, next up is the Town Hall Transfer Station, Christmas Eve and New Year's hours. So here's what I would propose. Town Hall and the transfer station closed on Christmas Eve. And on, what were we talking about, Robin? What were we saying, New Year's?
New Year's.
MJ's not gonna be here New Year's.
No, MJ, no, that's changed,
Okay,
all right?
so am I doing the same thing?
It's totally up to you
Well,
guys.
isn't New Year's already a holiday?
New Year's is. Yes. So that one day, the transfer station will be closed and the town hall will be closed on Christmas Eve, which is a Tuesday.
Which is that Tuesday,
It is a
the
Tuesday.
24th.
It will be closed.
So we're closing the 24th.
Yep.
Correct.
I'm getting my hair done now, that's great, thank you.
New Year's will be closed on Wednesday, and New Year's Eve, we're not doing what we were doing before.
Well, so I guess things with MJ have changed a little bit, so
Okay.
it's up to you if you wanna, whatever.
No, we'll leave it the way it is right now.
Okay.
That you're open
Yes.
on that Tuesday,
For both transfer and town?
both transfer station and the town.
Okay, I'll relay it to the transfer station.
The day after Christmas, are we good? Transfer station has to be open,
Yeah,
day after
no,
Christmas,
yeah,
period.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay,
So I'll put it on a sign as well.
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
How about New Year's Eve? What are we doing there?
Nothing.
nothing.
Open.
They're
Gonna be open?
Yes,
Regular hours.
they're gonna be open.
I'd like to see maybe the transfer station close early.
Close early?
Joe, they don't even open till
Yeah, they don't
noon time.
Well, maybe what we should do is have them open like 8 to 3 or something like that.
You know, there'll be a nightmare
It
getting
doesn't
that out
work,
there.
Joe, it's a work day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they open
so
later.
Some of the people there that would work it, probably, you know what I mean?
I don't know, I think it just would, I don't know.
What time does
Most,
it,
most businesses are open on New Year's.
what time
Yeah,
do
but
they close
everybody, it's one
normally?
of those holidays that everybody's going anyway.
6:45.
It's still early enough to get out and do something.
No, just a thought. There's no reason why they couldn't open early.
Yeah, 12 to 6:45 is the day for. Yeah, I can be down with that. Let them close at 6?
6 o'clock's fine.
Okay, that's fine. They'll
Yeah.
close 45 minutes early.
Transfer on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, they can close 45 minutes early. I feel like the Scrooge right now, but,
12 to 6.
yeah, I mean, it's just, Joe, they're gonna be super busy this
Oh,
time,
they are, they definitely
you know, and,
are. They gotta be slammed the day after Christmas.
so this is the other part. Bob, since they
They should open
are not
early.
answering emails and stuff, if you go down there, and if the board agrees with the consensus of having Bob, when he does go down there, I want them to have at least one can, an empty can to throw trash in. Because
After Christmas.
the day after
Oh, they're
Christmas,
the slam.
they're gonna be slammed. So,
Right.
one, they need to make sure that it's emptied, that both hoppers, everything's emptied
Before
Yeah.
Christmas.
before Christmas. And then the day, they have to have an empty can there. I don't, they have to, at least one.
Oh,
if
yeah.
not two.
Yeah, I would say two.
I would say two.
I would
I
say
agree
two.
with
The
that.
cardboard dumpster should get emptied.
Yeah.
Everything
two-
should be ready, the
everything
day
should
after
be empty.
Christmas and that weekend,
Yep.
it's
Right.
gonna be crazy.
Yep,
And I am I will say that I'm going to, the board and myself don't ever want to see a pile of trash bags outside of that place again. So if you can make that clear to them, that that's not what we ever want to see again. So if they have to get empty cans and have them sitting there, that's what they have to do, but
I will make it happen.
that was totally not acceptable.
There was something I heard that came up, and I don't know how much validity it has to it due to the transfer station, but I guess they had an issue with an ice problem there at the last storm.
So I
With the
was,
salt?
I happened to be there, not there at the transfer station. I happened to be in town hall at the time. And our road agent obviously has a job. His one employee was on vacation. The salt shed is a stone's throw away from where they are.
It sure is.
And the parking lot's not that big, so grabbing a
Shovel?
shovel and a 5-gallon bucket and spreading salt does not seem like a huge deal to me at
No.
the transfer station at all. If the ladies here at the town hall can handle it, I think that the gentlemen at the transfer station can handle salting the parking lot.
All they need is to have a couple buckets of sand.
Yeah,
salt on hand.
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. So, yeah, apologies for anything that may have occurred.
Now, let me ask you another question. What about plowing? How does that get handled there? Because I understand they don't have a vehicle to plow with.
Doesn't the town take care of that, road agent?
So the town did take care of it until he was told not to a
By
couple of
who?
years ago, by the board.
And they have snow blowers down there.
Why?
Well,
would-
you can't plow the parking lot with snow blowers.
Huh?
The
They
board
can't plow the
decided
parking
that
lot
they
with
didn't
snow
want to pay Mike to plow the transfer station.
So how do they get rid of the snow?
They did it in-house.
With the machine?
Yep,
And the machine's working?
no, the machine's
Pete,
down.
I guess Pete went to get the parts today, from what I
It was
understand, for the
working today. It
Kubota.
was working tonight when I was there.
It's working.
They were moving stuff tonight with it.
Well, and there you go, so the Kubota
Can plow.
can plow.
Do they just have a bucket on it, just
So
have a plow
between the
blade?
Kubota
Just a bucket.
and the
It's not
snow
that-
blowers, they should be all set.
If the transfer station needs the parking lot taken care of, they need to come to us at a meeting, and I'll put them on the agenda, and we'll discuss it. And I'll make sure the road agent's here.
Yeah, have
to
them
do it.
send us an email.
I want to make something perfectly clear and so that everybody understands. The people down there get paid to work. And that means work, whatever it takes to make that facility function for this town. That means snow removal, that means making sure those containers are empty,
Salt?
that means making sure that metal pile gets picked up on a regular
But then again,
basis.
they need a plow to plow the snow.
I
And
know-
a-
I
and a
understand that.
little Kubota is not gonna handle
And
a
I'm not,
20-inch snowstorm.
no, and listen, I am not questioning
Yeah.
the fact that they want somebody to plow. If they want somebody
Like
to
I said, let them
plow,
come forward.
they need to come forward here
It's fine.
in a meeting. I'll put them on the agenda. I'm not asking them to plow that parking lot with a Kubota. I am asking them to come here and explain to me why they want the town now to plow there and they didn't want before. That's all. I get it. That Kubota's small. It would take me a little while to do it.
And I don't understand why he wouldn't just have a conversation with the road agent.
I agree, but apparently this is the
One
route we're gonna
department
take.
head talking to another, that's the way it works.
I agree.
I say they fight to the death.
So
So before we get knee-deep in the weeds
I
here,
don't want to right now. Not in those weeds.
Well, we'll just extend to them an invitation to come before us.
If they
Yeah,
need to.
I'm not gonna direct the
Plain and
road
simple.
agent to take care of that parking lot
No.
until they come here and ask for it. And I'm not being petty, I'm just, this is the way it's gonna go. Okay, do you guys have some warrant articles, ideas and stuff like that? We can bang those out real quick. I don't have any written, I'm trying to compile a list of what we want, right?
yep,
Is that all right? We got other stuff to do. I just want to do this really quickly so I have an idea.
yep. So the one we were talked about was the one for the emergency, the $50,000 one that we did last year.
Okay, 1 second. Let me,
I think it was number 19.
let me get to that one first.
Yep.
Okay, just so we can hit it. The rec revolving fund, we don't need to do that again, okay?
Right.
There's 50 in there, we don't need to do it again.
We're gonna put
I don't
that
know
in.
if there's 50 in there, but you know what I
No,
mean.
but that's gonna go into the default budget.
Correct.
Right.
We're good on that one. The lease of town-owned land doesn't need to happen again. In my opinion, all the capital reserve ones I wanna do again, it's up to you guys. You have town buildings, cruisers and equipment, although the police may change their mind on doing that one or not, which is fine, they can do that. Fire and apparatus, obviously, he's gonna need that. Highway vehicle and equipment, we just started that one.
We should do
I wanna continue that one,
Yeah.
'cause there is gonna come a time where we have to buy equipment,
Yeah.
and I wanna have some money in there for that. Town anniversary revolving fund, we don't need that there anymore. I do have, I'm gonna talk to the assessor tomorrow to see how much the eval is, cause I need to see how much is in that account, whether we need to do that one again.
Right.
we
Okay? Which is fine.
I think we do.
Highway construction revolving fund. Last year, we did 200K. We're using the extra to get more roads done and plowed. Do you guys want to do 200K, 100? Do you want to lower it a little bit this year?
I
think we
was
should put
gonna
the
say,
same
I'd
amount.
like to still put at least 100 in, but let's see where we're at.
I too would like to see where the budget is before I
Right.
decide what
So at
that
least
number
100.
is.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but,
and that's gonna be that's not gonna come from unassigned fund.
no,
That's gonna be a tax.
that's gonna be a discussion for after we get what we're gonna use, and then we'll try to figure that out. But I agree, it won't come from unassigned funds, but, yeah, so we need to see where the budget's gonna be
Right.
before we decide the numbers on that. And then, we don't need to do the town clerk and tax collector, that's done. We don't need to do the social service agencies one, because we passed it,
It's in the budget.
it's in the budget, we're done. It is
Yeah.
in the budget going forward.
We don't need 17 either.
17 is the fire rescue and ambulance program revolving fund. We funded it to start it, so we don't need that one there anymore either. That will be the fund that we're gonna use, that the transport money goes into and everything else, it'll go into that fund. Cemetery trustees stipend, we don't need that anymore, that one's good to go. Contingency fund, so it was
Yeah.
40 grand last year. At the end of it, it goes back into the unassigned fund, so we have to do it each year if you
I'd
guys
like
want
to
to
see
do it.
another 40 in there.
I'd like to
just as
keep
a-
that one.
Keep it at 40,
Right.
and it's just, it'll go back in an unassigned fund every time we don't use it. We
Right.
did not use it at all this year so far, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still 2 months left.
Yeah, but it's there in
But-
case we need it.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, but we haven't used it yet, so that money will go back into the unassigned fund balance, and we'll just have to educate our voters that we didn't use it, it went back, we just want to use it again, just in case.
Just in case,
It should,
an emergency, yep.
I gotta talk to the lawyer to make sure that even though the first time we pulled it from the unassigned fund balance, we probably should just, that one will be worded to come from the unassigned fund
Right.
balance.
And
Yeah.
probably every
Because if
year.
we don't use it, it's going back into.
back.
Right. And then we can
It's
just
not a
refund
tax
itself.
impact. So
Right.
that one I can agree on, we leave that one as is. We
Yeah.
don't need to
Yes.
touch that one. Should have asked Chief if he wants us to put more, or are we good with the
Cistern
cisterns?
fund?
Because we got 75K in there
I think
right
we
now
need to put at least 25 in there.
to get it to 100.
Yes,
Yeah.
easily, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah, because they're working on a few of them.
all right, that's fine.
And he said the parts weren't cheap, he said,
No, they're not, they're
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that.
What about this last one?
That's they have to do that by
Alright.
petition.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
what
don't
I'd
do
like
that.
I'd like to see us do something with impact fees
So,
for public service.
I'm getting to that. I got my list, let me get there. All right, let's hit these ones now while I'm at it. I want to dissolve the solid waste disposal fund. It sits at about 360,000. That is where all the money that the town collects from the transfer station to other towns and this town. It was started to help ease the budget, but at some point,
That's good.
it didn't, not that it didn't get used, so they did transfer money out of it, I've seen it. The last 2 years I've been on the board, we haven't needed it. In the last year, we didn't need it because we budgeted properly for what it costs for the transfer station to run, which is how the town should be run. We're not budgeting for revenue.
Right, it gives
We're
us a better
budgeting-
picture of
The
what's going on.
budget is supposed to be what it costs for the town to
Yep.
run.
Correct. Exactly.
If the town makes any money, it should be given back to the taxpayers when we set the tax rate, which is what we did this year for $373,000 we gave back to the taxpayers to set the rate.
Right.
And that's the way I'd like to continue
Yep.
this going forward. So with that being said, the other dissolve account would be the engineering and renovation of 8 Merrimack Road. They were taking the rent and putting it into that account to use it just for that. You couldn't use it for anything else. We have a capital reserve for buildings.
Right.
We don't need to single out that property.
So that money can just go right into the unassigned
So
fund
that,
balance.
so that actually will have pretty close to zero after today.
So we need
But
to
I'm
put a
saying the
warrant-
rent that
The
comes
rent
in,
will go into the general
unassigned,
fund.
we'll
It'll go to the general
appropriate,
fund, and
yeah.
then it'll drop down to the unassigned
Right.
fund.
So we need to
Right.
put a warrant article in with that, any balance plus accumulated interest.
Sure, yes. But we have, so tactfully,
Tactically.
we spent the money that was in that account to do the parking lot.
right,
To do the sleeping quarters.
Right.
So it should be, it should be
Just
really
about
close
empty,
to
yeah.
zero, which is
I think there's
why-
about 2,000
Which
left
is
or
why
something.
we wanted to do it that way,
Right.
so there was, not a lot in there when we did it. The other one is the ambulance fund that we kept when we were trying to get rid of it. I want to get rid of this ambulance fund, and we have one ambulance
Right.
fund that the money goes into, which is the
Makes
one that
sense.
has 200+ thousand in it
Yep.
currently right
Makes
now,
sense.
and be done with that. I know the treasurer had made some suggestions about some of Tricia's accounts, about closing one out and rolling the money over into another one, and having a conversation with Trish. One is specifically for Seabrook, for the stuff that she does for Seabrook. There's $5,333 in it right now.
Yep,
Trish needs it because that's where the money goes into when she does her Seabrook drills, and that's what she pays the people out of. So that has to stay.
We need to rename
We
it.
need to rename it to include the word Seabrook, so when they get the money, they know where it goes, and not deposit it
Yep.
into her EMC fund.
right.
So
Yep.
that's
So
fine.
we could probably add Seabrook in front of it, Seabrook Emergency
Perfect.
Management
It-
Revolving Fund.
As long as it has the word
Right.
Seabrook in
Yep.
there, we're good.
Right.
A couple of, one was the impact fees. Joe, I'm going to reach out to the legal counsel and figure out how we incorporate that, because I believe we should be getting impact fees for recreation and for roads.
Public safety.
Public safety, which is all encompassing, so.
Right.
I'm going to reach out to him, and we'll hopefully get some verbiage and see if it has to go to planning board, or
Sounds
if it's
good.
this board that puts it on whichever ballot it is, because I'm not sure. That being said, that's what I have, and that's what
Yep.
I'm working with.
And so everybody out there understands kind of the other part of what we're doing with some of these accounts is, like Dan started to explain, to be more blunt about it, what we're trying to do is eliminate the shell game about taking money from this account, putting it in this account, like you hear us have to say at these meetings sometimes, that the money's gonna be in the budget and there's no more playing of money around. It's gonna reduce any risks of money being mismanaged, not being put in proper accounts, being taken from an account and put in the right account. This way here, everything will be full transparency when it takes place.
And it's better fiscal management for the town.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll actually know what it costs to run the town of Newton. So, all right, I did that, I had that.
You ready for non-public?
Feel like I'm getting close. What do you have anything? You're good? Joe?
Oh,
you got-
Greenie, field use agreement, did that come back from town council?
Oh, that's correct.
I haven't heard anything from them.
Okay.
Did you send it, or?
I think I did, right?
All right.
All right, so you
Follow
can
up.
reach out
Do we have a
to
letter?
Eric.
To Eric.
Oh, yeah, the letter I gave you.
Where is it?
About what?
Resignation from the
Is it downstairs?
Recreation
I think it's downstairs. Can you cliff note it? Or do you want me to go get it?
No, so we have a member of the rec department, Sue Mears, is resigning, effective immediately. She's, served the rec commission for years. She's willing to help when, if needed going forward, but she's looking to have some more time with her family and take care of her husband.
We thank you for helping us out for this long. Thank you very much for your service for the town.
We don't have the other one yet because we don't have
No.
a date.
You got anything?
I can get the letter.
No, I just want to say that we had a very successful luncheon for the folks at Packer Meadows today. Holiday celebration was very well received, and we had we had a function today for the folks at Packer Meadows, a holiday celebration, and they were very appreciative of the town putting that on for them.
Awesome.
Food came from Marcio's, they said the food was delicious,
Yep, everything
and
worked
everybody
well.
fully enjoyed it.
That's great. Did you go?
There will be, the people of the town are proposing a warrant to not allow any more slaughterhouses to be put in town. That will be a warrant
Citizens petition.
proposed by 25 town residents. That's going before the planning board, I believe, tomorrow morning, no, Thursday morning at 8:30. That should be getting posted. And then the planning board itself has, it's either 2 or 3 warrants that we're doing. One of them's to protect the watershed, a lot of new definitions and stuff like that. And a couple of others that'll end up on the warrant. That, of course, it's no cost to the taxpayers, but it's going to help paperwork-wise and to be able to protect the town in certain instances. And like I said, one, to protect the water, the well water around the town, and the other 2 is so that the town can't be sued, and there'll be more stringent what's the word I want to say? Requirements, regulations put in place for people to meet when they have to do some building.
Sure. And just to clarify, so people, this is not the, it's not the same thing that other towns are doing, what they call the land grab one, where they change their wetlands and raise the elevation. And now if you're 50 feet above sea level, you're close to, they're calling it a wetland. It's almost like a land grab that Sandown tried last year, Plastow's trying it this year. This is not that. I thought it
No.
was at first, and then I did my research and talked to the planning board, and this is not what that is. I just want to be clear on that, because it's a heated conversation.
Yeah, no, it's the one up for the well water is to protect the watershed, so that if businesses were to be built and put in these locations where the watershed areas are, that there would be stringent requirements that would have to be met. And in some cases, certain businesses would not be allowed to be constructed in those areas to keep any type of pollutants like the PFAS out and other ones. So,
Correct. Okay, and also if a citizen's petition to not allow slaughterhouses, just to be clear again, right, does not affect ones that have already been approved.
exactly.
Okay. All right, I don't think I have anything else, gentlemen.
I'm gonna make a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91-A:(B), hiring, and C, reputation.
So moved.
Second.
All right, that is a roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That is unanimous, gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you.
showing up tonight.
Yeah,
Happy
appreciate it.
holidays,
Recording
everybody.
stopped.
Yeah, this one will get around, and